Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, Brian Kelly is getting a little hypocritical out there. He is definitely a guy that is rules for thee and not for me. He's upset that a lot of players want a lot of money to play football, which coming from him is rich. But he had some kind of choice words about it because he missed out on a couple of guys in the transfer portal over money. And so he wasn't real happy about it. So he decided to step up on a high horse. So we're going to get right into that. And this is a story in Saturday Down South by Connor O'Gara. And what happened was he missed out on a couple of key guys. Dominique Williams, who picked Oklahoma, and Simone Barrow, who picked Miami. And, you know, look, Miami's going to spend money. But anyway, he did an interview, and he said, we're not going to go out and just buy players. So he was a little bit salty about it. And actually, I'll let you listen to what he had to say exactly.
So the D-line, interior D lineman, where are you right now with that?
Well, I think I made it pretty clear in a number of the press conferences that I had that we were in the market in recruiting in the transfer portal looking for defensive linemen. It hasn't fared very well, quite frankly, because, you know, we're selling something a little bit differently, and that is we want to recruit. We want to engage, build relationships. We want to develop, retain, and have success. We're not in the market of buying players, and unfortunately, right now, you know, that's what some guys are looking for. They want to be bought. And look, I understand NIL is part of this, and we have an incredible collective. We have very, very generous opportunities around the greater Baton Rouge area for NIL opportunities. So they are here, but we're not going to go out and buy players. That's not what this is about. This was never about that. We will develop you. We will get you ready for the next step, as we did with Jaden Daniels, as we did with Malik Neighbors, as we did with Brian Thomas. We developed 3 defensive linemen that all got drafted this year, and we'll do that again. But if you're just looking to get paid, you're looking in the wrong place. If you like all the things that we do here in developing our players, bringing you into a championship program, playing in front of the best fan base in America, playing for championships, and having an opportunity for NIL, you should be a Tiger. But if you just want to get, paid, this is not the place for you.
Well, that sounds pretty reasonable. Clearly, money is not important to him.
You serious?
Yeah, he left Notre Dame for $95 million, but he doesn't want a player to go over money. He did. He loved Notre Dame. He absolutely loved it. But there was 2 reasons he left. Number one, he got a big raise, obviously, and that was back when $9.5 million a year was a bunch. Now, good gosh, we got a $13 million guy in Kirby Smart at Georgia, and even Josh Heupel's making $9 million a year, and he's been here 3 years? And now he's been very successful in the first 3 years at Tennessee. Nobody's complaining. But back when he got that was a lot of money. And this was a story in Blue and Gold by Jack Sobel. Said what Brian Kelly said about Notre Dame's priorities. And he said, I loved my time at Notre Dame. I have nothing but great memories there. He said, but the whole landscape there is different than it is here. It just is. He said the 12-year Notre Dame coach continued, implying that academics are often prioritized at South Bend, whereas his new job puts a premium on athletics. So Notre Dame cared a lot about academics. Obviously, they care about athletics too, but he didn't like that priority. He also said there's priorities at Notre Dame. The architectural building needed to get built first. They ain't building the architectural building here first at LSU. We're building the athletic training facility first. We're in the midst of spending $22 million on an addition for athletic training facility. So once again, he loved the fact that LSU was spending more money than Notre Dame. So he got a huge raise. He's able to enjoy a ton of money being spent on his facilities. So obviously money was super important to him, but he doesn't want anybody getting bought. I mean, they certainly didn't buy him for $95 million. Or the fact that they promised to spend a bunch of money on athletics. You really wonder if some of these coaches and some of these folks actually hear the words that are coming out of their own mouth.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yeah, it's kind of shocking. And let's look at their recruiting. They've already got 2 5-stars for 2025. Yeah, they've already got a 5-star out of Michigan, Bryce Underwood. I wonder if he agreed to go to LSU for free. He's the number 1 player in the country. Let's see, here's another guy, DeCorian Moore. He's also a 5-star, the number 4 player in the country out of Texas. I wonder if he left Texas for free. I kind of doubt it. So when it goes his way, it's all about being developed and character and building a culture. But if somebody doesn't commit to him, well, they just wanted to get bought. And again, this was about the 2 players. He needed a couple of defensive tackles. And he said those guys got more money elsewhere, and that's why they didn't come to LSU. But again, that $95 million had absolutely nothing to do with him to go into LSU. That was not even important. I don't even know if he knew how much he was getting, because he was only concerned about what was best for the young men that he would be helping shape. And in this story, it says what Kelly's comment fails to acknowledge that LSU had a seat at the table with those coveted defensive tackles because all the things he mentioned, the atmosphere, culture, path to the NFL, said, but yeah, maybe once the list is narrowed to a handful of schools that also check those boxes, money tipped the scales. Exactly. Every good quality program will develop you towards the NFL. Now, what you put in it's what you're going to get out of it, but they can all do that. And the SEC especially. They're not selling some magical thing down there in LSU that nobody else has. Georgia puts in more than anybody in the NFL. And also the fact that he literally poached Missouri's defensive coordinator, Blake Baker, to make him the highest paid assistant in America, and also bought highly regarded Texas defensive line coach Bo Davis, all over money. So he goes out and poaches the best assistant coaches he can find, overpays them, takes them from other schools that are his competition. That's okay, though, because he's developing young men. And see, Missouri isn't, and Texas isn't, just LSU. Okay. Now, here's a guy that has every advantage humanly possible that you could have at LSU. You have a huge state full of blue-chip recruits. You're the only big school in the state, exactly like Georgia has. And national titles have been won at LSU primarily because of that. They have one of the best footprints in the country. They're probably at least top 3. So he's already got a huge advantage before he ever steps out the door. They're obviously spending money like crazy. You know how hard it is to go and get somebody's defensive coordinator in the same league that's coming off a great year? You got to really put up the dinero to do that, because you know Missouri did not want to lose that guy. Missouri's defense was very good with him. And this has been a big story. This has also been covered by Adam Sparks of the Knoxville News Sentinel. He talks about Josh Heupel reacted to Brian Kelly's comments. And Josh Heupel said he thinks it's more of a complicated question. He said, is it part of their decision? Of course it is. It has to be, pretty much is what he said. He said, it is for every other American in any other walk of life. That does not make them greedy or selfish. That's a piece of the puzzle. If we're offering NIL packages, and that's part of the equation, any one of us in our professional life would never take a job without knowing the details of what that compensation package looks like, which that's just common sense. You're not going to take a job unless you know how much money's there, and you're going to take that into consideration. Oh, okay, they're offering this amount of money. This company over here is offering this amount of money. Well, gee, that helps. If everything's all the same, but they're going to pay me this much money, I'm going to take this job as opposed to this one.
Hello?
So I think this is probably some sour grapes. And to be sitting in the catbird seat that Brian Kelly's sitting in and to sit here and complain about NIL is kind of absurd. Oh, they just want to be bought. They just want money. When you're sitting on a $95 million cash pile and you left Notre Dame over money because they weren't spending enough on athletics, they were a little bit too concerned about academics. Isn't that part of growing a culture? Is that you send the kids out with a good education? So anyway, this is the hypocrisy. Again, it's rules for thee and not for me. And it gets difficult for folks that don't have any financial issues in their life to just look down their nose at others that are maybe don't have a whole lot of money that are like, yeah, I'm going to take that into consideration. I'm not sitting on a giant pile of money. Obviously, Josh Heupel sees it for that, and I think most coaches do. Brian Kelly, he's a little bit spoiled. And we've seen that a little bit with his coaching style. He's a guy that can get really upset real quick. And he's probably feeling some pressure down there because a lot of people are like, oh man, you never can win the big game. And that will build on a person. And I think maybe he's feeling some of that pressure because he's really not won the big game. I think he's a quality coach, but until you get the championship, until you win that big title, basically at this point a natty or bust, it's probably grinding on him a little bit. And for that, I'll try to be a little bit understanding given the circumstances, because he is under a lot of pressure. He's making a lot of money. He's got a great situation. The fan base down there is unbelievable, and they are beyond passionate. LSU, I know Louisiana folks. They are crazy passionate about football, and that's not only their Tigers, but also the Saints. They'll go nuts over football. So anyway, I thought I would bring this story to you. If you've not subscribed, hit this little button right here. It won't cost you a dime. I would certainly appreciate it. And right over here is a recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your reviewing history. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.